A very good evening and a warm welcome to our first edition of UBC News Tonight on this 15th day of May 2025. Now, before we get into tonight's news bulletin, let's first take a look at the top stories tonight. Now, in our top stories tonight, Museveni kicks off PDM tours in Toro sub-region. Uganda's exports hit $8.3 billion in 2024. The European Union alerts farmers on imminent ban of selected pesticides. And in sports, Budo SS football team returns in glory after thumping St. Mary's Chitende. Good evening once again. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto. We do welcome you into this news bulletin. Now we start off with the first story of the night. President Museveni has applauded beneficiaries of the parish development model who have invested their funds wisely. Now, he met with some of the beneficiaries today as he kicked off his PDM tours in the Toro sub-region, and also said that those who have made productive use of their funds will become part of the nation's wealth creators. And also still this evening, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has visited the Akorinako family mixed farm in Kamwenge district as part of his wealth creation campaign in the Toro sub-region. Now, the model farm, which is owned by a former district inspector of schools, Akorinako Julius, who transitioned into farming, now grows coffee, bananas, mangoes, and also rears goats. Now, the president was accompanied by the First Lady, Janet Kataha Museveni. Now, the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, PURA, of the Gambia has expressed interest in Uganda Broadcasting Corporation's editorial framework, which promotes objectivity despite various challenges in achieving core media values. Now, this follows a benchmarking visit by a Gambian delegation to Uganda aimed at exploring legislative frameworks that can be adopted for the use in the Gambia. We have the details.
The Public Utilities Regulatory Authority of the Gambia paid a courtesy visit to the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation to benchmark media technology and regulatory practices in Uganda. The delegation was briefed on UBC's strategic operations, which include 11 radio stations and 4 television stations nationwide.
We broadcast in 29 dialects. So to be able to manage communication across the country and reach our entities, we thought that was a fairly good way to go about it.
As part of the ongoing multi-sectoral reforms, PURA is benchmarking Uganda's legislative framework for broadcasting,
including online regulation, licensing, compliance, how do we enforce compliance, and so many other things.
Our legislative framework is very much similar. And also, if you actually look at the UCC Act and the PURA Act, you realize that there are a lot of similarities. So it's one thing to study a country, but it's important to study a country where you can have a seamless benchmarking and adoption of those laws. Of course, we have to contextualize it to our local content.
Online regulation is another key aspect considered during the benchmarking exercise. From the Uganda Communications Commission perspective, the standards applied to traditional media are equally applicable to online platforms.
Content is content, whether on traditional platforms, whether on online, it is content, and it must conform to standards. Nevertheless, we are going to specifically design standards just to touch on that. But we are not mourning that we are helpless, not at all.
PURA has identified key areas from the Ugandan model to support the development of their own broadcast legal framework.
So from Uganda, we really did learn a lot, especially with regards to their quota system. Especially when we were speaking this morning, one of the guys mentioned the thing with journalism and ethics. So even where there are interference, what really insulates you truly from political interference is really the ethics of the profession.
So yes, objectivity is key, but it must speak to your values as a journalist. Otherwise, if you don't have those values to guide you, then somehow you'll lose the essence of objectivity.
Meanwhile, Signet Uganda will roll out the direct-to-home DTH broadcasting in June 2025. This satellite-based solution will enable nationwide television coverage under the free-to-air license.
So when we do launch DTH, we'll claim we can actually have then 100% coverage for television signal across the country, which is a first for us. Even during the analog days, we were unable to achieve 100%.
While funding remains a major challenge for UBC operations, it was observed that increased government support could enhance objectivity and independence in broadcasting.
If you don't have adequate funding, you are challenged with retaining the most competent staff, you are challenging with getting the most recent technology and all of that. So it's important for the national broadcaster, just like any other business, to be adequately funded to be able to meet the targets of its mandate.
The delegation also received a guided tour of UBC's radio and television studios. Tony Kate Chaze, Ivan Kaho, UBC.
Now on to our story of the evening. President Museveni has applauded beneficiaries of the parish development model who have invested their funds wisely. Museveni, who met some of the beneficiaries on Thursday as he kicked off his PDM zonal tours in the Toro sub-region, said that those who have made productive use of their funds will become part of the nation's wealth creators.
Deo Katuramu, 44, is among the standout performers of the Paris development model, recognized by President Museveni and the First Lady Janet Museveni. Formerly a taxi driver, Katuramu invested his 1 million shillings PDM fund into piggery farming. He used a portion of the money to purchase 3 piglets, while the rest went into feeding them and constructing a modest shelter. Over time, the pigs multiplied. He later sold some and used the proceeds to buy a cow worth 1.2 million shillings, while still keeping 2 pigs, which have since produced over 10 piglets. In addition, he has expanded his venture to include a banana plantation. Katuramu now hopes to become a model farmer in Chakahinda, a village, Bunyangavu district. While visiting the farm during the ongoing Toro tour, President Museveni commended Katuramu for using the PDM funds effectively.
Nabo icyo nsemerero kurora ngo kana akabazi akuturesere muketegereze mwakamanya kurora akabazi ka miliyonemu okujuna omuntu miliyonemu hari nyowe na mama na kantu katoito muno.
Museveni, visibly impressed, said if all beneficiaries utilize the funds in a similar manner, it would mark a strong starting point for meaningful development.
Orozile Katuramu akabari taxi akatasobora kujya kugaruka hano mu cyaro abuzira kanto kwaragaruka akana gonza garuka ko ngatene kwaragaruka ati miliyonemu yagura empunu nizara muno yatunda yihamu orugonjo yasimba orugonjo.
The First Lady highlighted the NRM government's unique commitment to grassroots empowerment. The Deputy Speaker Thomas Tayebwa and ICT Minister Chris Baryomusi remarked that time will reveal the success of the PDM proving critics wrong.
If you just follow what the newspapers, you know what the elite say, it's as if the little money we are giving to these people doesn't mean this much. But when you come and you interact with them, you see where they've come from. A very good example, Mr. Katuram here was a taxi driver.
But now the flagship program for government is to see how to empower the local population to get out of poverty, to get out of subsistence and go into the money economy. And that's why this program of PDM and the Myoga and others were designed.
Bunyangabu district is reportedly among the top 40 districts in PDM performance. Area leaders attributed this success to the dedication and commitment of the local communities.
But the success is bigger, and what we expect, because from zero, someone who has been having completely nothing, and you are given 1 million. From 1 million you become something. Actually, the NRM government is doing good work.
This man struggled so hard to make sure that he maintains that capital that he got. He first bought 3 piglets. Finally, they produced piglets. He sold them, and finally bought a cow. Now the cow is pregnant. It has lifted their livelihoods. If you visit homes that benefited from parish development model, you would see some light. There are very many examples who are even better off than Katuram. There are many, but
Philip Aguta and Stephen Kalisia for UBC News in Bunyangabu.
Now, still in the Toro sub-region, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has visited the Akorinako family mixed farm in Kamwenge district as part of his wealth creation tour. Now, the model farm is owned by former District Inspector of Schools, Akorinako Julius, who transitioned into farming and now grows coffee, bananas, mangoes, and rears goats. President Museveni was accompanied by the First Lady, Janet Kataha Museveni.
Deep in the village of Lyamugonera, Rwenkoba ward in Kibale County, Kamwenge district, lives a seasoned farmer named Akorinako Julius.
Started this coffee farming seriously in 2019, and I was seriously inspired by His Excellency the President when he was talking of 4-acre model.
Akorinako is a former District Inspector of Schools in Kamwenge district who left former employment in 2017 upon reaching the retirement age.
President had always told us whenever he would come to Kamwenge on a rally, he would tell us, you people of Kamwenge, what happened to you with the, how do you come that you got married with the maize growing? That you will never come out of poverty if you continue with the maize growing.
Although he initially ventured into maize growing after retirement, the venture did not yield expected results for nearly 2 years, prompting him to explore other agricultural options.
I have 4 major enterprises, coffee, bananas, goats with pasture, and then mangoes. And all of them are integrated in one way or the other. The goats are giving me a lot of manure to supply to the bananas.
His persistence and innovation in farming led to a great transformation, so much so that he was selected to host the President of Uganda at his farm as part of the Toro sub-region wealth creation tour.
In a year, like 2024, I found that with the coffee, for this mature coffee of 6 acres, and the total sum it was 40 million. That was net.
Atijumburro bgiga tukwerecha abo kwanko wanje ukoko mukiyanga naki ito tukatu lyokito tujaba waraji ninjuka 2016 yaje atayibwa abantu okuba kugikora nikwe bakuginya hatwamvurikiriza intocho twazitema twazomwana
nyina kugambira muzingu kwihobo twe nabebembezi bite bedina bakugambira enseje kahinduka evaro bitu nibituwereka ngo maki 10 amakamu kaga kaino mwani.
In a short span of time, Akorinako has successfully established a thriving enterprise, rearing goats and cultivating coffee, bananas and mangoes, earning recognition as a model farmer in Kamwenge district.
President okuzumbyaro okutayayira amaka g'abantu kugamba n'emirimo yabo n'ekibakozire obuyambi bwa gavumenti nyo nimanya ngu n'ekintu kisi omu Africa eky'abebembezi bashemerere kwehuriza really.
Having served for over 22 years in public service, Akorinako now humorously reflects on his past career, expressing some regret for not starting farming earlier.
In fact, I wish I had retired a bit longer, even when I was stronger, because now my life is more stable, more enjoyable, quite relaxed, and the income is definitely. I had never got to, let's say, $1 million on my account.
Mbona tukureba no mboma ishu ati obwese abebembezi excellency president right honorable ebitin sabyo bishira ho honorable bona nempumi bebembere impumi abekarisa nabo bajabaza ho bashabero bworo omugisha uboro babushabero omugisha mwizana lya patri lya mwana uboro mbugumaho eginesho yamani.
President Museveni was accompanied by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Thomas Taiba, Ministers Dr. Chris Bayumusi and Frank Tumwebazi, as well as State House Controller Jane Barichi.
Simarhanga munonga kandi nimpamya nimwe abantu kumukwetegereza ikintu eki mwakore eki emirimo yi government eri kubakwatsa no gwesugwa mwamaye ngo nimwe mwino murumo kureba ngo mwimutse cyaro cyanyu twena tuyimutihanga ryitu
tunayizera Kamwenge na y'abantu turahinga ibicuri murahinga ibicuri kumwahinga mwene hikazinga nyine hikibiri.
He is currently on a wealth creation campaign in the Toro sub-region, where he will also chair the Regional Leaders Conference and commission a skilling hub. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance is taking significant steps towards digitizing public service delivery. ICT officers from ministries, departments and agencies and local governments convened for a pivotal meeting aimed at enhancing coordination and digital transformation across government entities. The meeting, presided over by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Amina Zawede, brought together IT and communication officers from the ministries and local government across the country.
You must welcome Dr. Amina Zawede.
The main objective was to conduct a comprehensive inventory of existing e-services across MDAs and local governments, a move geared toward streamlining digital infrastructure and service delivery in the country.
So today we have called them, invited them, first of all to formally make them aware of what the function of a mother ministry is. We are responsible for recruiting them. We are responsible for informing them about their key performance indicators. We are also responsible for supporting their career growth and career path. When training opportunities come, we identify who should take on the training. When certification opportunities come, we inform them and they take up these opportunities. However, before, they have been doing it in an ad hoc manner. Each ministry was taking, recruiting their own people. Some of them didn't have the capacity to identify the right people because the mother ministry there was no mother ministry to define what an IT officer is and what they should do. So that is a process we are now doing. Now that they are officers under the Ministry of ICT, we can support them from one central point, other than before where everyone was doing their own things.
During the session, several officers openly shared challenges affecting their performance.
Now this issue of contract staff, because you find that contract staff actually have more power in these ministries than who is employed by government. Even the case, they know those ones. And I have to be honest, These are challenges where, yes, there or what, my son is there, therefore, my son has to go to work. I think some of these things have to end.
Dr. Zawede acknowledged the concerns raised and reassured the officers of government's commitment to addressing them. She emphasized that the Ministry of ICT is working closely with all stakeholders to ensure that barriers to digital transformation are eliminated.
Of course, these IT officers have spoken to the challenges that they are facing in their offices. Some of their reporting lines don't understand their function and what they are supposed to do. So some of them are saying they have been redundant for a long time. When systems are being procured or acquired, they are not involved. But now this is going to get better because the Ministry of ICT is going to communicate how things in IT should be done across government, and then we shall operate efficiently.
Winnie Ainembabazi Katwire and Juma Samba for UBC.
The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development through the GROW project has launched the Gender Inclusive Financing Innovative Expo, an initiative aimed at removing financial barriers and promoting women's full participation in economic development. Now, officiating the event, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Masika Kazimoto, reaffirmed the government's commitment to empowering women entrepreneurs, emphasizing that women are at the heart of national economic progress. We have more.
The Generating Growth Opportunities and Productivity for Women Enterprises GROW project supports women-owned micro and small enterprises, specifically those in which women own at least 51% of the business. However, this ownership requirement has excluded many aspiring women from accessing these crucial loans.
Research suggests that women's access to affordable financing in Uganda remains limited and unequal. According to the Uganda Bankers Association, women-owned enterprises account for only 24.4% of the industry's loan book, which highlights significant barriers to formal finance.
This has led to many women relying on informal financial service providers, exposing them to high interest rates, theft and financial fraud.
Majority of women are complaining that the terms and conditions are very stringent. Secondly, the process is so long. Thirdly, the collateral is very stiff and they are unable to get the loans because of the collateral. So we have here today financial institutions, financial companies, innovators that have designed IT solutions and financing model that are gender inclusive, targeting women.
Recognizing this, the GROW project aims to catalyze institutional and market level improvements through the GROW Financing Facility, Innovation Grants, Women Entrepreneur Financing Learning Lab.
So at the end of the day, we hope that we can have institutions that say that even if a woman doesn't have collateral, I'm willing to pay. Even if the woman doesn't have financial records, I can use psychological assessment. If you come and speak to me, you can actually be able to tell if I'm a good person and I understand my business. If I don't have the books written, I have written them on my heart and I can speak. So why don't you give me a loan? We can also be able to think through, what about women that are in districts where there is no single bank at all? Who can reach there through fintech? So that is the main reason for this particular forum.
The Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Masika Kazimoto, said government has laid the groundwork for expanding financial inclusion for women, recognizing that women empowerment is the engine of the informal sector.
Women's economic empowerment is not a peripheral issue. It is a national priority. It is a core part of Uganda's strategy to build an inclusive, resilient, and dynamic economy. Across Uganda, women are not only holding families together, they are leading businesses, managing farms.
Mary Namkose, UBC News.
All right, so UBC News Tonight will take a short break, but we'll return with more stories after these messages. Don't move an inch.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Fun battery phone.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Kabode Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Kabode deal and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Kabode Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN, regulated by UCC.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukoto Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
Sam nazanya ruto ganyiga star 278 then hash kuja kubanga oyingide mukazanyo nga sente zino zimula wano zina wangu zino wano milioni 10 kinala mu mukaga ebindi wanasoka bila ku TV nange sasoka kikiriza ninga mulaye kino kinzo kubanga kitufu oba yaddala tibya bufere sente zino nazifunye zino nazikoze ki naziwangudde amasanyu ina mangi byoto byange byembadde njagala genda bitukiriza.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory.
Are you a woman with a small-scale business with a dream of growing it to another level? The GROW Project is here to support you in realizing your dream.
The GROW Project is a government initiative implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and Private Sector Foundation Uganda with support from the World Bank.
We support women-owned businesses across the country to gain hands-on and business management skills through training within your location, business financing through grants and affordable loans, and infrastructure in your areas of operation to enable you to increase your productivity.
If you have a business that makes sales of up to 800,000 Uganda shillings per month, the GROW Project has the tools and resources to help you succeed. For more information, contact your district or city GROW focal person or call our toll-free line on 0800 307 777 to learn more about how you can benefit from the GROW Project's services.
The GROW Project, empowering women economically, transforming communities.
Welcome back from that break, and we're glad you're still with us here in UBC News Tonight. Now, more news this evening. The Commissioner of Parliament, Matthias Mpuga, has urged the Uganda Human Rights Commission to expand and continue monitoring the state of human rights violations in the islands. Now, Mpuga cites how violators of human rights tend to go unpunished in these hard-to-reach areas. The Commissioner was receiving the 27th Human Rights Annual Report for the year 2024 on behalf of the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Annette Among.
The Uganda Human Rights Commission has availed to Parliament its 27th Annual Report on the state of human rights for the year 2024. Presenting the report to the Commission of Parliament, Matthias Mpuga, who represented the Speaker, the Chairperson to the Commission, Mariam Wangadia, presented the rights and freedom situation in the country.
This report also presents human rights challenges in the country
opportunities and possible solutions on how our...
Some of the thematic human rights areas that the Commission monitored in 2024 are the human rights implications of Uganda's tax system, the traders' strike, liberalization of education, and human rights implications, among others.
2024, we conducted human rights and civic education around the country, where we engaged and informed the citizenry. This included training workshops, human rights barazas, and informative road shows that reached various sections of the population.
The report also indicates inspections of places of detention carried out by the Commission in 257 police stations, 118 police posts, 78 government prisons, and 4 remand homes. The Commission noted prison overcrowding as a major challenge in prisons.
The Commission also noted that despite Uganda having only 259 prisons around the country, with an approved accommodation capacity of 20,996 inmates, Uganda prisons had a population of 80,076 inmates in 2024. This negatively affected their sleeping space, ventilation, hygiene, and access to other basic services.
The Commission of Parliament, Matthias Mpuga, assured the Commission in raising the concerns outlined in the report to the authority.
Enhancement of your capabilities, and I hope our recommendation to finance will be considered to be able to backstop you, to be able to surround the entire country and address and report the situation of human rights.
Mpuga, however, advised the Uganda Human Rights Commission to refocus their budget on expanding in hard-to-reach areas where violators go unpunished.
Now that you have this mandate, you may not wait for the procurement of speedboats. You may have to find it in your budget to reach out to the communities and the fishing communities. The violations there are despicable, and the violators know that's very difficult for you to go there. So they can get away with anything, including murder. Property has been burned.
Despite the challenges in funding cited by the Commission, the body received a total of 3,940 complaints. The tribunal registered 197 matters, disposing of 98. Lydia Chomkama and Gloria Witabinji, Parliament.
The Byamukama Company Advocates has proposed that Clause 117A of the Uganda People's Defence Forces Amendment Bill 2025 be deleted, since it expands the coverage of civilians to be tried in court-martial. While appearing before the Joint Parliamentary Committee comprising the Legal and Defence and Internal Affairs, Jude Byamukama, an advocate, argued that civilians should only be subjected to military court if it's clear that the ordinary civilian courts are inadequate. We have the details.
Various stakeholders are adding their voice in the Uganda People's Defence Forces Amendment Bill 2025 being scrutinized by the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Legal and Defence and Internal Affairs. Legal minds from the Jude Byamukama Company Advocates, also members of the Uganda Law Society, appeared before the Joint Committee chaired by Stephen Baker. Counsel Byamukama appreciates some clauses of the controversial bill. He, however, points out some contentious clauses.
The schedule to the bill says pistols are ordinary monopoly of the defense forces. Mr. Chair, I submit that this could be a cause for problems. Innocent Ugandans who are licensed to carry firearms and who have firearms could find themselves being treated as subject to military law, when clearly they have done nothing unlawful per se.
This one, they're saying, because you use a gun that was not licensed, that's why we are taking you here. With the other one, they're saying, because you use a gun which was licensed, that's why you are going to civilian court. Does that speak to that provision of the Constitution of equality before the law?
Byamukama wants the jurisdiction of the General Court Martial to be substantiated, avoiding clashing with cases under the Penal Code. One of the members of the committee, General James Mugira, questioned about this proposal.
Our case that the General Court Martial, as the Supreme Court ruled, should exercise specialized jurisdiction. In other words, it should try those matters which the civilian courts may not adequately handle because they involve some technical knowledge of the military system.
Now, I want you to advise on situations where you would have a military personnel who has committed murder in an operational area, like in Somalia, and we have to try him. What would happen if we just restricted ourselves to only the offenses provided for in the UPDF Act?
Exceptional cases should be given a section of how they become to be exceptional cases, to be tried in the court martial.
Clause 117A of the bill reinstates the trial of civilians by the court martial under what has been described as exceptional circumstances. Counsel Jude Byamukama disagrees with this proposal.
Civilians should only be subject to the military system if it is clear that the ordinary courts are not adequate. Mr. Chair, this is the standard. There is no justification for clause 117A, given that ordinary civilian courts try far more serious offenses such as terrorism and treason. This clause 117A, Mr. Chair, ought to be deleted so that we have a very nice bill looking after the welfare of members of the defense forces.
Have them tried parallel. The soldier being tried, if he has committed an offense under the what? The UPDF Act. Tried in the court martial, then this civilian who has aided and abetted goes to a civilian court. Do you have two parallel systems trying a person or different person on the set of the same facts?
It has nothing to do with whether you're trying civilians or military officers in a military court. The nature of the establishment of the military cannot guarantee a fair trial. It cannot be an independent court within the description, within the confines of the Constitution.
There was a proposal that Clause 195 of the UPDF bill be modified to guarantee security of tenure to a member of court martial and division court martial at least 7 years, non-renewable.
Security of tenure goes to the heart of the fairness of a court and its impartiality. The bill gives contracts of 3 years which are renewable. What happens to those trials which members of the court martial handle a few days, a few weeks before that contract expires? And the standard internationally is that is not security of tenure. A 3-year contract, which may or may not be renewed, does not guarantee security of tenure. So either give one term of 7 years.
What would the problem be if it were 5 years? What the problem would be, because the other thing we encourage, honorable colleagues, the other thing we encourage here is speedy trial. Okay? So why then prolong the tenure if the intention is actually to have fair but also speedy trial?
MPs, however, had mixed reactions. Members of Parliament also reacted to the proposal to adjust the clause on the powers of the Judicial Service Commission. I'm Nafka Farid and Gloria Gwitabinji at Parliament.
The Uganda People's Congress UPC President Jimmy Akena has declared he will contest for the 2026 presidential election pending endorsement by his party. Akena emphasized UPC's commitment to addressing exploitation, poor living conditions and unemployment, pledging that if elected president, social amenities would be delivered equitably. He is optimistic his party shall reclaim power in 2026 and boasts of strong grassroots structures. Akena, who has served multiple terms as MP for Lira City East, stated his focus is solely on the presidency after his party spent 3 consecutive terms without contesting the presidential seat since 2011.
Standing for the party leadership to carry the flag in the 2026 election, and I'm believing that the party will grant me that opportunity to carry the flag in the general election. And as the party is doing everything to prepare to get ourselves ready, we expect to have our delegates conference before August of this year, and thereafter, of course, we'll enter the campaign. At that delegates conference, we'll have a flag bearer, we'll adopt our manifesto, and we will now chart clearly how we're going to move towards the 2026 election. Intention is to have our candidate nominated on the first day of nomination, which is October 2nd. So as UPC, we are ready. UPC being based on a people-centered party, we are concerned about the exploitation which is taking place on the people, the level at which different areas of the society and the economy are struggling, are being put under extreme burdens. So as UPC, we want as much as possible to ease the burdens of the common man or the citizens which are going through, whether it's in education, in the areas of business, in the area of trying to do farming, which most of our people deal with. All those areas, the UPC position will be centered towards the people and how to enhance their opportunities to survive effectively in Uganda. We have been strengthening the grassroots. As UPC, we realize that our strength is in the grassroots, and therefore we have been building upon that one. As we head to 2026, we are strengthening our ground, strengthening our grassroots. So as a party, we are confident. Now, in elections, we have always stood as UPC, and we've had candidates from different political parties. In every election, NRM have always fielded against me, and we don't mind competition. We're ready for competition. So in competition, we're going to meet whichever candidate comes from whichever party, and we're also going to be present at the presidential level, but we're going to do so in a decent and organized way as we've always handled our politics. Our politics are above the personality, it's about the issues, the policy, and for the well-being of the citizens of Uganda.
UBC News Tonight. Now, as Christian believers gear up to commemorate Martyrs' Day on June 3rd, preparations at the Namugongo Catholic Shrine are in full swing. Reverend Father Vincent Lubega disclosed to UBC that preparations are progressing steadily to ensure everything is in place by May 30th, when the first pilgrims are expected to arrive.
With just a few days left until the annual commemoration of Martyrs' Day, activity at the Catholic Shrine has intensified. Upon arrival at the Namugongo Catholic Martyrs' Shrine, the sound of humming cleaning machines echoed throughout the area as teams of workers were seen energetically scrubbing surfaces and clearing grass from the grounds. The Basilica Church is receiving a thorough cleaning to ensure it radiates its full glory and reverence on the big day. Rector of the Namugongo Catholic site, Reverend Father Vincent Lubega, confirmed that preparations are on course to ensure everything is in order before the influx of pilgrims begin.
We have already started the preparation. If you look around, since 4 or 5 days ago, we are doing the cleaning, the washing of the floor in all the shrine premises. And if you look down on the ground, it's very beautiful. There's no dust, there's no mud. And in the background, you also hear the machines are cutting the grass. That's also a contribution we, the parish team of Namugongo, are doing.
He further noted that they are working in close collaboration with Lugasi Diocese, which is spearheading this year's organization, and that preparations have reached an advanced stage.
We are going to pair up with the Diocese of Lugasi so that we can trim the trees and put in more light, and also prepare the toilets, the toilet facilities, the sanitation facilities. We need over 120 toilets to care for all the people.
Father Lubega cautioned pilgrims against arriving prematurely, emphasizing that the site will officially open to pilgrims starting May 30th, 2025.
Fortunately or unfortunately, there are some who had already arrived a few days ago, and we asked them to go and find shelter somewhere until we are ready to receive them. So the first pilgrims, it's our duty as a parish to look after them. And when I talk of looking after them, I talk of the sanitary facilities, their security, and a few other medical attention which we have to offer to them.
In the days leading up to the main celebrations on June 3rd, several special prayer events will be held, commencing on May 25th.
From the 25th up to the 2nd, we are going to have novena prayers. Novena prayers will mean praying every day. We shall start at 1 p.m. In the previous times, we are starting at 5. This time, every day, with the parish team of Namugongo, at 1 o'clock, we shall be starting with Mass. After Mass, we shall have teachings.
The Uganda martyrs were executed for their unwavering faith under the orders of Kabaka Mwanga. Each year, pilgrims from across the country and beyond converge at Namugongo to take part in the sacred celebrations held every 3rd of June. Marion Awori and Andrew Sebira reporting for UBC.
Techno and MTN. Together, our flash snap is unstoppable. Grab the Techno Camon 40 series and get free 9 GB of MTN data valid for 3 months. Don't wait. Get your Techno Camon 40 today at Techno stores and MTN outlets. MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Special announcement from the Baseline Education Census 2025. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Sports, is conducting the Baseline Education Census 2025. This exercise will cover all learning institutions in the country for both government and private establishments, namely pre-primary, primary, secondary, vocational, and higher institutions of learning. The Baseline Education Census exercise data collection is being conducted in a phased manner, starting with Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area, comprising of districts of Kampala, Mukono, and Wakiso. The rollout to all other regions will commence at the beginning of second term. The Baseline Education Census collects information on learners, teachers, and school facilities to facilitate planning and policy decisions in the education sector. Uganda Bureau of Statistics appeals to the general public, heads of schools and institutions, as well as the local government authorities to cooperate with the BEC enumerators. In a special way, UBOS appeals to all parents of the learners to support the exercise by availing learners with their correct date of birth, national identification number, and learner's identification number. For more information, please call 0772 933 628 or 0743 787 189 from Dr. Chris Mukiza, Executive Director.
Africa is rising. A continent rich in potential, powered by a new generation of visionaries. From cutting-edge technologies to transformative industries, Africa is shaping its own future. Bold, sustainable, and value-driven. Inspire Africa Group welcomes you to the first Africa Business Forum, which will be held at Africa Coffee Park under the theme Innovation, Industrialization and Value Addition on the 23rd of May 2025. The chief guest will be His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of Uganda, and His Excellency Dr. Samoei William Ruto, President of Kenya. Come, engage with the key policymakers, forge strategic partnerships, and unlock new markets. Join us as we reshape Africa's economic future.
Uganda Development Forum, in partnership with
Uganda Broadcasting Corporation is organizing a 2-day Musevenomics conference on the 29th and 30th of May 2025. The conference is dedicated to exploring Uganda's revolutionary economic model under the theme Sustaining Musevenomics, hence navigating Uganda's economic future in a disrupted world. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and the chairman of Uganda Development Forum, General Salim Saleh, will lead a team of distinguished speakers in economics and development. The Musevenomics Conference 2025 is sponsored by Uganda Development Forum in partnership with Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Uganda Development Corporation, Parish Development Model, and Operation Wealth Creation.
Brought to you by
Welcome back from that break, and now into business. The Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, PACID, has released its third annual 2025 performance report, highlighting significant growth in Uganda's export sector and renewed focus on market expansion. Mark Wadulu has more.
Export revenues have nearly doubled from approximately $4.2 billion in 2023 to $8.3 billion in 2024, with the Middle East emerging as the most significant destination, thanks to efficiency gains facilitated by the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development's coordination of public and private sector players.
Perhaps we can shape language and meaning and put structure around this area called exports, because every economy I have known that has grown out of poverty rapidly has exported more than 50% of its GDP. You check, and those economies are not big, they are small. When you export more than 50% of your GDP, you attract huge FDI that is export supporting. So you know our FDI is for domestic market. FDI from China wants to produce plastics for you. Fine. But me, I want plastics that I can sell outside. Eh?
Uganda's top export market in 2024 included the United Arab Emirates, valued at $2.68 billion, Italy at $663 million, India at $551 million, Kenya at $550 million, and Hong Kong at $519 million.
Recently we had a lot of heat, and you must remember the rain may make us forget, but recently the temperatures were unfamiliar. Now imagine fruits and vegetables from Kabale, from Noya to Kampala to Entebbe, Amsterdam. It's a long journey. So we lose over 40% of what we produce. We can easily produce so much and then lose it. So cold chain infrastructure, collection centers, aggregation centers, PACID, working with UFZEPA, have given us a warehouse at the airport. And we started using it. We are doing trainings, we are working really to utilize it at the airport.
Using the approach of technical working committees and trade representatives, the committee has revitalized markets in the USA, Serbia, South Africa, Democratic Republic of Congo, Nigeria, Japan, and China.
I've been to Japan, not once, 3 times, invited by the Japanese government, because they couldn't believe that we could add value to what? To Matoke. In fact, the gentleman came and visited and told me openly, for us Japanese were used to getting raw materials from Africa. Who told you to add value? You get it. So this is a romance. I couldn't keep going back because I realized I have to work on volumes and the quality.
Priority sectors benefiting from PACID's interventions are coffee, tea, sugar, fruits and vegetables, beef, dairy, fish, bananas, flour, flowers, cement, steel and tourism. Sectors that are aligned with Uganda's National Development Plans 4 and 5. Over the next 3 years, the committee plans to implement an aggregation strategy to handle the growing export orders, expedite trade agreements, and leverage the African Continental Free Trade Area. Wadulo Arnold, Mark, UBC News in Kampala.
The Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority, PPDA, has kicked off the dissemination of revised standard bidding documents for local government entities. Now, the updated documents, effective July 1st, marking the start of the new financial year, provide clearer guidance on handling abnormally low and unbalanced bids, the use of joint ventures and the power of attorney in the bidding process, among others.
These revisions align with the amended PPDA Act Cap 205/2023 regulations and 2024 guidelines, all aimed at cutting bidding costs, enhancing inclusion, and improving procurement outcomes and service delivery. At the launch in Seta Mukono, PPDA Executive Director Benson Turamye urged procurement officers to fully understand the new requirements to avoid confusion in the bidding process.
If you are part of the procurement function, please get a copy of the PPD Act. At least read your role. If you are a user, go to the part of the user and say, what is my role? Just that, it's like half a page. If you are controls committee, read what our roles. Our roles being hired to, or they are being breached by the PDU. Because the PD is going to issue a bidding document which you have not even looked at.
A similar dissemination event was held simultaneously in Barara City. In Mukono, PPDA officially launched its revised standard bidding documents and user guides targeting local government procurement officers. The revised documents include tools of supplies, works, consultancy, disposal, and embedded priorities like sustainability, social inclusion, and compliance with updated regulations.
The mission, what are we here to do, is promote service delivery. And that is why we are here today, promote service delivery through effective regulation. Providing this standard bidding documents is part of our regulation.
Procurement practitioners welcomed the reforms, noting the clarity and structure the new SBDs bring to the bidding process.
Applicability of the standard bidding document, it's of greater value because most of the entities and bidders, they are agreeing about the information relating to public procurement. So these revised standard bidding documents, this is the way they enhance us to improve on our transparency and ensure that there's value for money.
This engagement marks a major milestone in PPDA's reform journey.
The Ministry of Agriculture is engaging stakeholders, among them CropLife Uganda, over the proposed ban of 14 pesticides flagged by the European Union. Now, the European Union says the listed pesticide molecules have exceeded their usefulness and pose potential health risks due to harmful side effects. We have the details.
During the Agrochemical and Fertilizer Symposium, stakeholders appealed to the ministry to set up farmer sensitization on safe and effective use of agrochemicals.
I think we should also be open to the fact that we must be in a state where we want to continuously improve so that we can serve our customers better, we can serve the farmers better, we can serve the consumers better.
The engagement tackled the evolving role of agrochemicals in advancing sustainable agriculture.
We must stand up to the occasion and, as an industry, promote sustainability of agriculture, look for low hazardous products, because this is the issue that is on the table. Look for eco-friendly products.
Stakeholders pointed out different challenges facing access of agrochemicals, with counterfeit topping up the list.
Studies estimate that counterfeit pesticides may constitute over 40% of the market, severely undermining the efforts of the reputable manufacturers who invest heavily in costly and rigorous research and development to produce quality, effective products.
The chairperson, CropLife Uganda, Agnes Mbabazi, expressed concern over the impending EU ban, citing risks of both local usage and export of the affected pesticides. According to research, the targeted molecules contain substance potentially hazardous to human health.
So on the 14 products that are going to be banned, what our concern is, one, are we ready to ban them at this time? And if we want to ban them, do we have alternatives that will fill the gap? Failure to do so will have a lot of issues, including counterfeit, including farmers having no options. Most of the new molecules that are very eco-friendly are quite expensive, and there are not so many on the market.
The symposium, held under the theme Contemporary Local, Regional and Global Trends in the Agrochemical Industry, covered issues of climate change, food security and digital innovation. Lydia Chomkama and Dan Lugemwa, UBC News.
Life in Uganda today comes with so many uncertainties.
Where will Madam get Kameza if I get an accident and can't work? If anything happens to me, what will Junior eat?
Yeah, Kale Musa is still in the hospital. Guy is missing a lot of money here.
With a monthly payment of only 3,000 shillings off your Equity personal account for EquiLife insurance, you will be entitled to 50,000 shillings hospital cash per night spent in a registered facility, up to 20 nights every year. And your family will receive 3 million shillings in case of your death. Visit your nearest Equity agent to sign up today or call 0312 327 000 for assistance.
And now into the world of sports, it has been joy and equaled as Budo Senior Secondary School football team returned home after triumphing at the 2025 Uganda Secondary Schools Sports Association football tournament in Ngora. The team returned to a hero's welcome, joined by revelers along the Masaka Road. We have more.
While receiving the victorious team at Budo Senior School, Director Lauryn Masika attributed that success to discipline and superior tactical execution throughout the tournament.
The National Secondary School Football Tournament, which we won yesterday, we have celebrated today the victory, and now we qualified to represent the Ugandan schools in the East African Games. So this year, we are going to be in the East African Games, and we feel very happy. So our assignment now, we are getting down, we are settling down to see how to organize our teams to make sure that we compete and also win the East African Trophy.
Games and sports teacher Gawa Ronald assured Ugandans that the team is committed to making Uganda proud once again when they represent Uganda at the East African Secondary School Games in Kenya this coming August 2025.
What I can promise Ugandans is that being champions of Uganda National, we are promising the entire country that we have played against best teams in Uganda, which I believe are better than other East African teams. So we are promising victory, and come August we shall come back with the East African Trophy.
Team captain Balasa Dixon credited divine intervention for their win against St. Mary's Chitende SS, where they triumphed 6-5 penalties following a goal.
It was not easy, but we managed to win this trophy. Thank you so much for supporting us.
Meanwhile, King's College Budo claimed the rugby championship title after narrowly defeating Namiyango College with a 14-13 scoreline in Ngora District. They will also represent Uganda in rugby at the East African Games in Kenya later this year. Having been named the best rugby team in the Wakiso zone, King's College Budo has vowed to bring home another trophy from the regional tournament. Shaidat Nasakum.
And with that, our first edition of UBC News Tonight has come to an end, but do join us at 10 o'clock for our second edition with more stories. Well, for now, let's take a break and get into more programming of UBC, and I'll see you at 10.
Uganda Funeral Services Limited, on behalf of Kampala Capital City Authority KCCA, regrets to announce the untimely demise of Najemba Imelda Susan Denye, which occurred today, Thursday, the 15th of May, 2025. There will be a vigil today, Thursday, the 15th of May, 2025, at the deceased's home in Banda Zone 4, and tomorrow, Friday, the 16th of May 2025, the late will be taken to Nakawa Division Council at 2 p.m. for last respects. Thereafter, the deceased will be laid to rest on Saturday, the 17th of May 2025, at her ancestral home in Liantonde at 4 p.m., starting with a mass at 2 p.m. Informed are all Nakawa Division councillors, all Nakawa Division elders, all the Christians of Banda Sub-Parish and Mbuya Parish, all residents of Banda Parish and Liantonde, all leaders of Banda, Nakawa, friends and relatives.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.